there's this sort of idea that we can throw out, for human systems, we're getting so advanced we can throw out all of this old and arbitrary stuff. When actually, a lot of this stuff leaves people feeling quite disorientated if you take it away. Hi everybody, it's Rich and I'm back, I think. Been a couple of years and I do have an excuse baby. I became a dad, but I thought I should make a video or two, and rather than pick up the old projects, I thought why not make some short videos, take the camera out for a walk, because I've been thinking about design in particular, as it's what I do, but thinking about design in science fiction in particular. Now, there's a trope, and it's quite a minor trope in science fiction, but it seems to come up from time to time. And as a designer, I was thinking about it and thinking, this is a bit of a weird one. So let me share it with you. So you quite often hear this situation where there's a spaceship. It's a futuristic spaceship, and the way the author, narrator, movie or whatever will pitch it is that the technology is really advanced, so all of the systems are distributed, and therefore it's kind of arbitrary where the ship's commanded from. There's no like central nerve centre. You could go any room you want and control the ship. And I'm very interested in design and how design problems are solved. And speaking as an engineer, I sort of scratch my head at that, because I can understand technologically why you would want to have a ship like that. You don't want any particular nerve cluster that, one, railgun shot or something from an enemy ship is going to take all your systems down. Great, no problem there. But the trouble is that a ship, say a ship of war, isn't just a technological artifact. It's also a human system. And when you start dealing with human systems, then things become a lot more complicated. So there's this sort of idea that we can throw out, for human systems, we're getting so advanced we can throw out all of this old and arbitrary stuff. When actually, a lot of this stuff leaves people feeling quite disorientated if you take it away. I'll give you an example. I worked for an engineering company, and when I joined it, it was just like any other company. So you had your desk, you would go in and you would sit at your desk and you would have your mug and your pictures up, and it was your desk, it was your space, and you felt like you owned that little piece of the, although obviously you weren't a shareholder or anything, you owned that little piece of the office. And then we had a new boss come in, and his hobby horse, his thing that he loved, was this idea of hot desking. So you could come in and you sit wherever you want. You could move around, and then you get to know different people, and it aids communication, apparently, according to him. Of course, he wanted hot desking for us. He didn't want it for him. He had his own really big office / meeting room that was always his. But for us, yeah, absolutely, hot desking. And it even got to the point where it got quickly rescinded, but they said, no, take your own mug home. We've got corporate mugs for you. Makes you feel like a corporate mug, really, to be working there. But the point I'm making is that not only is there no sense of ownership anymore, because you just feel like you're some kind of interchangeable cog in this machine, you also end up in a situation where, well, where's the head of this, or where's this person I want to go and talk to? I have no idea. You can't orientate yourself within that space. So you find yourself feeling a little bit lost as well. So this is what I mean about human systems being complicated. There are a lot of things about the way humans interact with their environment that aren't easy just to, I mean, this is easy to capture, but it's not necessarily easy to capture everything in that relationship. So when you come to a ship of war, imagine, I don't know, a 19th century, like a big square rigger frigate or ship of the line or something. Again, you're dealing with, you could lay that ship out any way you want. You know, the officers could be sleeping anywhere, the men could sleep anywhere, and so on. But in practice, what happened was these ships were rigidly hierarchical. You would have the men sleeping forward, you'd have the marines sleeping in the middle, and the officers would sleep at the aft, and the great cabin at the back of the ship was the captain's. And you go on any ship of that era, and that's how it's laid out, which means a seaman or an officer from that period could go on any ship and they know where everything is. So that is hierarchical, that is systematic. It's also based on centuries of lessons learned and traditions being experiments that worked. So coming back to this future space battleship, I think that yes, you could have your distributed systems. You're going to have a command center. Doesn't matter if you could dismantle it and move it somewhere else if you wanted to, technically speaking. The important thing is that the crew on the ship need to, because you're going to have, it's a military system, you're going to have some kind of command hierarchy. The crew need to know where everything is. They need to know where the orders are coming from. So there's no technological advancement isn't going to get you around these human truths of how hierarchies function. And therefore, yeah, that particular room is going to be laid out, which is a further thing we could get into. Where do you place all the workstations in a bridge? Well, if you watch Star Trek, you know that people tend to sit in similar sorts of places, and I'm sure in reality it would be laid out in quite a similar way. So yeah, there's one of the unfortunate things about science fiction is the way that you get often what you might call liberal ideals, and a lot of that is this sort of clean slate approach to things. It's like, oh, we can throw it all out, and there you go. In conclusion, my conclusion, you can't do that. You've got to use what works, what's based on tradition, and what humans are able to orientate themselves around. So that's my little rant for today. So going to hopefully soon get round to editing up some of the videos I had in my back catalogue that I never got round to releasing. But in the meantime, tell me what you think. Would you like to see more videos of me talking about this sort of thing? And hopefully I will see you again soon.